Hey there, this is Pam Perry Speakers Magazine show with our March 2023 Speaker of the Month. That is Tera Carissa Hodges. She is with us today. We're going to be talking with her really quick. We're going inside the pages of Speakers Magazine to learn all about Tera Carissa and her backstory. With that, I'll bring up Tera. Hi! So, Tera, one of the things that you're an empowerment coach, and you've been doing this for a while. And people can go all on Speakers Magazine and kind of learn a little bit about what that's about. But I want to hear from you your backstory. Like, what is it that inspired you with your calling? Because not everybody hears the call and does the call, but you've been really thousands of women lately, you know, have been coming to you, and you've been doing the inspirational speaking, motivational speaking, preaching for a while. So tell us how it started. Tell us about the Tera Carissa growing up and how you kind of learned about your call.
Oh God, Tera Carissa growing up, I was for sure a tomboy. Yes, I was.
What?
I ran with the boys, beat up the boys, played with the boys. You understand? I was a tomboy through and through, so much so that when I was around 13 years old, my mom was like, "You're gonna be a girl." I gave birth to a boy and a girl. I have an older brother. You are going to be a girl, and you're going to dress like a girl, and you're going to be a girl. And so I was definitely, but the thing that I love about me being a tomboy is that it truly prepared me for who I am in ministry and in life and in my career. Because I'm used to running with the boys, I'm
Okay.
not afraid of them.
Okay. That's what.
I ain't scared of nobody.
You're such a glamour girl now, right? We got
Yeah. And I was glamorous in high school. I was nominated for I was on the homecoming court twice. I was nominated cutest, who's who, all of that kind of stuff like that. So I definitely evolved and stepped into my womanhood for sure. But who I am as Tera Carissa is I'm unapologetically unafraid. I'm unapologetically straight with no chaser. And I've been that way since I was a little girl. And it's so funny because I was just talking to my dad earlier today. We talked 50 times a day, but I was talking to him earlier today, and I was talking about my daughter, and I was like, "Dad, she is so strong-willed." He was like, "Wonder where she gets that from." Mm-hmm. And I'm like, "Dad, she's like, he's like, that's you," and I love it because I prayed for that.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am, I love God unapologetically. I am me unapologetically. And that's just who I am. I knew around the age of 14 that I was called to preach around 14, 16. I knew I had the gift of prophecy for sure at 14. Knew I was called to preach at 16. And in fact, when I was 16 years old, my church, I grew up in Mississippi, they we had a church bus. So they chartered the church bus from Mississippi to Atlanta. It was on like a 4-hour drive. And the youth got dropped off at Six Flags. And the women and me got dropped off at the Woman That Are Loose conference at the
what? Oh my God!
What Dr. Juanita Bynum preached, kill it from the book of Deuteronomy. That is how much I remember that. So when I got back, my dad, because my I think the Woman That Are Loose conference was always like around June, July, sometimes in there. My birthday is June 28th, so my dad asked what I want. I said, "Well, I want the Woman That Are Loose at that time VHS series." So I'm telling my age. I'll be so that's what I got. I got the Woman That Are Loose VHS, the 6 video.
Yes. Oh my God! At 16,
I'm true to it.
Oh my God. That is for real. So when you were, everybody else is
Let
at
me
6
tell you something. I dropped. See, people, you got to know me to know me. You understand that? That's why sometimes, when people say stupid stuff, I'm like, y'all are really discrediting yourselves to people who know better. I'm sure you know who y'all call him, Darius Daniels. I'm sure you know who Darius Daniels is.
Is he a singer?
Darius Daniels is a very well-known preacher. He is TD Jakes. He's preached for TD Jakes, Dr. Jamal Bryant, Keon Henderson. I know him as Marshawn because we grew up together. His daddy is who baptized me when I was 9 years old. So Darius, I call him Marshawn, and I used to lead a song together for our youth choir. in Mississippi. I used to get up and give little mini sermons, testimonies in church in my 10 years. This ain't new to me. Some people, I ain't talking about nobody, but I'm talking about somebody. Some
Mm-hmm.
people saw other people going and decided to go. You know, they weren't sit, they
Right.
just went. I was sitting and didn't want to come. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
But I say all that to say, I still live my life, you know, because in high
Yeah.
school I still lettered in track. I was still the senior class president. I went off to
Mm-hmm.
Florida A&M University. I became an AKA. I was on the staff newspaper, the student newspaper, radio, television, you name it. I still lived my life, but I want everybody to understand that what you see is who I am unapologetically. I do not proclaim to be perfect. I'm saved. I love Jesus. Catch me on the right day. I still might cuss you out a little bit. I'm the Peter that walks with the Lord. But at the end of the day, I do love God and I do strive to serve God's people.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things too, Tara Carissa, is that I've been, like I said, I've been following you since a long time online. So I didn't know you way back in college, but I do remember you on MySpace, right? And you were always that bright light, always a bright light, always sharing that information. And so what was different about you, it seems like, than other people who are in their calling, especially women today, the ones that I know, they have gone through a lot of stuff. They may have been like, hell on wheels. They had all this stuff, drama and trauma early in their life, and then they find Jesus, and then they become the preacher and all that. That's not you. You knew from way back. And not saying that you didn't have any drama, like you said, you had the regular stuff going on, but you didn't have like, I wasn't like on drugs, living on the
No,
street.
I wasn't on drugs. I've never been homeless. I give God the glory. I've never been sexually abused, physically
Right,
abused. I don't have that testimony.
right, right.
Now, in my adult years, transitioning into ministry and adulthood, yeah, I've had good relationships, bad relationships. You
Mhm.
run into the jealousy and ministry, things like that. But no, you are accurate in saying I don't have oh my God, I was this or I was that. And I give God the glory for that, but I try not to glory too much in that because I think that when you go down the list of things you have not been through, you actually isolate yourself from the majority of people. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm not here to try to sound like I'm better than anybody because I'm sure, first of all, I have been through things, and I'm sure that, things that I have been through, other people can glory in and say they haven't been through because everybody has their own cross to bear. But I try
Mhm.
to spend more time ministering to people than setting myself apart from people.
Yes, yes, and that's one thing that I do like about your ministry. So, I'm sure that it's been one of the things that people say, well, she's just too worldly. She's got on makeup. There could be some things like in church. Well, she got on leather. I guess it's a leather dress. I don't know what this is, but those kind of things where you will find that young people will say, that's why I don't go to church because they will judge me. And so your ministry, the way you present yourself and the way you speak is really relevant. It's really relevant. People can get to know Jesus, get to love God because they see someone that has been in journalism, someone who has a media company, someone who's, you also have a greeting card company, so you're doing things. You're not just like, oh, I'm just only in the church and I'm in these four walls. So, what are some of the things that made your ministry the way it is now, the difference, like maybe growing up and you said, well, I want to be more like this, or you just created your own
No,
path.
I never copied anybody. I'm just
Mhm.
point blank telling you. If you were to ask me right now, what did Dr. Juanita Bynum preach about last week? I cannot tell you. I don't know what Paula White is doing. I don't know what Joyce Myers is doing. I don't know what anybody around me is doing. I don't know what Sarah Jakes is doing. I wish all of these women in ministry well. To God be the glory. Preach the gospel. Do it big, sis. But I don't know what they're doing because I don't pattern myself after them.
Mhm.
I truly
Mhm.
am who I am. Now, my mother and I have certainly locked heads over the years. You got two grown women, But one thing that I give my mother so much credit for, and I've said it publicly so many times, is that I have always been outspoken even as a child. She never stifled my spirit. She never stifled my in your faceness. And so when you say, I do what I want to do and it doesn't seem like I'm bothered by people judging me, That streak in part comes from my mother, because my stance early on was, if my mama ain't saying nothing, you can't say nothing. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not
Mm-hmm.
that my mom did not discipline me, but my mom did not break my spirit. I have
Yeah.
no memory of my mom whooping me, so to speak. Now, if you would
Mm-hmm.
have asked my mom, do you believe in spanking children? She would tell you yes, but I have no memory of my mom whooping me. I don't. My father
Mm-hmm.
either. But the way that she disciplined me, and I must give her credit for this, I was still allowed to, my grandma would say, back talk. You let her back talk too much. But and so I've taken that stance that I have a mama. I have a God. You're not
Mm-hmm.
my mama, you're not my daddy, you're not God, you're not my pastor. And now that I'm a married woman, you're not my husband. So you're gonna have to get in line and take a ticket if you expect me to submit to you, care about your opinion, because your opinion don't pay no bills over here, and you don't have a heaven or hell to put me in. And I don't say that to
Mm-hmm.
sound mean, rude, or arrogant, but I say that to encourage somebody to be ye set free from the opinion of man.
There you
Because
go.
man will have an opinion about you, and you can turn right back around and have an opinion about them. So we can play
Mm-hmm.
the opinion back and forth game all day long, or you can run your race. Let me run mine and let God be the judge, because the Bible says to work out your own salvation. Now, I'm not saying people should not heed correction, but there's a difference between correction and what I think is holiness. I hear some preachers say they don't listen to secular music. Well, listen, if you don't listen to secular music, that's your prerogative. But I listen to secular music. Now, I don't listen to go rob somebody, go shoot somebody, go kill somebody. But what in the world do you think I'm listening to when I'm with my husband? We're not
Mm-hmm.
listening to
Mm-hmm.
Jesus to the cross. Okay. Yes, I do swim in bikinis because I do not swim in choir robes. Yes, I do wear fitted
I love when
bodycon
you say.
dresses while I still got a shape and don't look a mess when I try to wear them. If you do not like that, you do not have to pay attention to me. Point blank, period.
Mhm. Mhm. And that's what people have to really understand too. I remember hearing Creflo Dollar saying the other day, one year, that him and Taffy loved Anita Baker. This is like way back when, that he loved Anita Baker, and people were like, "Oh my God, Anita Baker!" I was like, "This love songs. It's like sweet love. What we're talking about, you know? It's
It's so
like
funny that
we."
you would say Anita Baker, because if you go to my Instagram page, one of my pinned moments is Anita Baker thanking me for my ministry and talking about how often
Mm.
she listens in to my calls, and
Oh
talking about
my,
all the celebrities that she sent to listen to my calls. And let me tell
yeah,
you something, baby, they so. Do you understand what I'm saying? These people are
yes.
being fed the gospel of Jesus Christ. And so when you sit back and you talk about who you don't listen to as if you're so perfect, come on, you
Mhm.
could not be listening to somebody that God wants you to listen to, so that y'all can connect. You understand? And God can get a message to them. There's nothing wrong with a love song. God invented love, and let me scare the saints. God also invented sex. Let me say that again for the folks that got offended. God invented sex.
Yes. Right.
Let me say that again, because somebody didn't text message their bishop. Tell your bishop on me. God invented sex.
Mhm. That's it.
So what you don't do, let me be quiet. I'm a little lit tonight because it's late night for me. Let me have my
So
eyes.
so so one of the things
But
that
sometimes what you don't do might be why you're not married. And I'm not talking about stuff before marriage. I'm talking
right,
about,
right, right.
because when you get married, don't nobody want to hear you speak in tongues all day.
That's the truth.
Don't
That
nobody
is the
want to
truth.
see you walking around in your prayer cloth all day.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
talking to the men and the women, because there's a lot of pastors out there that you don't know how to keep the church in its place. The church is Jesus's bride, not yours.
Mm.
There are
That
sometimes you need to
is
take off that
that sound
collar,
like a whole
step
that
out
sound
the
like a whole
pulpit,
book right
and
there.
go home and be a husband and be a father to your children.
Mhm. So is there a book inside of you? That sound like that could be the one. That could be the one. I'm just saying. Or at least the conference. Okay, we had talked about possibly you're doing like a parenting conference, but we've got a you got a business, you got a lot going on. You got a business, so your business is a media company, and then you have the bullying. I mean, you've got a lot. You got the greeting card, new mom, uh, wife. So where do you see yourself next here, Carissa? Like in terms of doing a book, doing an event, a conference? Uh, where do you see next?
I'm glad you switched because I was getting ready to go in. I got time today. What do I see myself doing next? Again, I am building out the parenting space. Parenting
I
is something
love
that is
that.
very
Oh my God.
near and dear to my heart. And I was asked a question um, by my concierge. And he asked me, he said, since you become a parent, are you a better person? And I said, no, I've
Mm.
always been a pretty good person. I've always been a decent, not perfect, but I've always been a decent person. I said,
Mhm.
however, since becoming a parent, I have become a more concerned person.
Ooh,
I'm more concerned about society, where
yeah.
it's headed. My spirit, my soul is wounded by what happened in Nashville
Oh my God.
with
I
those
know.
school children. And not just there.
And
You
one
turn
is
on the
a preacher.
news.
But one was a preacher's kid.
Correct. It
It's
was a Christian school. You understand? So when you look at society, the Bible tells us that the world is not going to get any better. In fact, it's getting worse.
mm,
But I yet believe that there's a remnant in the earth that can be used to encourage, inspire people unto righteousness. I believe
mhm,
that there's still hope. Christ has not yet returned for his second time. The Holy Spirit is still dwelling on this earth. I believe that we can still be empowered to
mhm.
lessen a lot of what we're seeing. And that is my focus because I want a world where my children can feel like there's at least a segment of the population they can be around
Yeah.
and not have to look over their back. And I
Yeah.
believe that good societies start with good parenting. I believe that.
Mm, mhm. That is good. I really, really feel that is a such a time as this for you to do that parenting type of conference because so many parents are afraid to send their kids to school, shopping, whatever. I mean, it's just like, okay, so now we're raising these children that have fear, and that's not good. So, really
Not good.
speaking to them and really inspiring hope is really a good thing to do soon. Do it
Mhm.
soon. And I think it would be, I'm not sure about what other people are doing, but in terms of the parenting space, that my daughter is now almost 30, but I don't think it was the same type of fear. I mean, there were things obviously happened back then, but I think having a small child today, I think there's a whole nother level
Whole
of
nother level. You have to remember,
yeah,
again, I'll be 40 in June, okay? Cell phones didn't become big until I was in college,
that's
okay?
true. Yeah.
When we
We
talk
had
about
MySpace.
MySpace, I was 22, 23 years old. You understand? And at
Mhm,
that time,
mm,
Facebook was still for people in college. You had to have a college email account. You understand? So I'm saying
that's
all that
true.
to say that when I was coming up in junior high and high school, social media was not the social media that we have today. You understand?
Mhm,
And so
mhm.
that is contributing to a whole nother level of what children are seeing and being inspired by.
That's true. I never thought about that. That is so true because 'cause they're growing up with it. They're seeing it. I mean, there was something that I realized the other day, and this is just that the internet, a kid can actually click on a pornography site,
Mhm,
right, at such a young age.
mhm.
And that can mess them up for a long, long time because they haven't even heard about it's just like it's so and so how do parents deal with that today? I'm like, my daughter did
It's
not
tough.
have that. Yeah,
Mhm. It's
it's a
tough. And even when you
real
look
thing.
at what in some states, and we're seeing this big debate all over the news, what can legally be taught to your child, read to your child at school,
That's a whole
that's
nother right.
a whole nother
Yeah.
thing. And so now it's about being intentional with your teaching at home, even if you've already sent them off to school.
Mm,
Because coming behind the system and saying, this is what they're teaching you because they believe that this is what you need to navigate the world. But this is what I'm teaching you because this is how you should navigate the world.
mhm. That is that's a conversation that's not often spoke about, and I think
Mhm.
that should be the next big thing because the social media not only does it um, shape the kids, or it's just they're influenced by that, but it also suicide rates are higher. The parents are like trying to figure out what to do, you know. And do you do you
And
do
here's the thing:
you
when we
do
were
you pull them
teens,
out of the world, pull them
when
off
you
the internet? You
were
can't.
teens, when we were teens, we got to live down our embarrassing moments. You understand? In this social media age with cell phones everywhere, some things are living on and on and on and on and on. Unfortunately, in
That's
my
right.
hometown a few years ago, a young girl in junior high committed suicide because a moment was captured on camera that got spread. You understand?
Mm,
And it's almost as if you have to teach your children how to be perfect so that they never make a mistake that's captured. We know that that's not reality,
no.
but when you look at why the suicide rates are going up, it is because there is seemingly a space in place that exists now where mistakes are not lived down,
They call it the cancel
and they're
culture.
not at that age where they understand that there is life beyond this.
Mhm, mhm. Even adults, when they
Yeah, even
cancel people,
adults. Mhm.
it's like the cancel culture. Well, you're done. You're forever forgotten, and we don't mention you. It's like, what? This
Mhm,
is
mhm.
crazy. This is crazy.
Absolutely.
So, do you the balance, and we talked a little bit about that, balancing the success of a career and a happy household, and one of the things in the middle, and then also too, you've got the ministry. It's all, you got the business, you got the ministry, you got the house. How do you balance it? What is some of the daily things that you do, or you coach other women to do, in order to stay sane, to stay happy, to stay, you know it's easy to say no, like, just
Mhm.
don't do, but women tend to feel so guilty, like, well, I've got to be a good friend, I've got to be a good
Mhm.
sister, I've got to be a good mother, good wife, da da da. I got to be a good church member, a good choir member. It's like too many roles. So, how do you coach people that feel overwhelmed? Women,
A couple
especially
of
women.
things. I believe in scheduling. I live by a calendar. So I can
Hmm.
look at my calendar and say, okay, at this time I'm supposed to be doing this, that. Number two, I believe in the power of outsourcing. I learned this concept from the book, The 4 Hour Work Week. That book is
Yes,
a game changer. Number
yes.
three, my house is clean. My house is not spotless, unapologetically. You understand what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm just gonna be me, and it's clean, but it ain't got to be
Number
like,
four, we
I'm
always
not a
gonna have
housewife.
good,
Right.
healthy, clean food, but I might not have cooked it. As long as you eat, amen.
That's the that sets some people free
And
right there.
and let me give you some Bible with that. In Proverbs 31, the Bible tells us that the virtuous woman had maidservants. Those maidservants had jobs. That's a form of outsourcing. I
Mhm.
do not hide the fact that I had night nannies that came in from day one of my child being home. I just said goodbye to one of my night nannies a couple of days ago because my baby is now sleeping completely through the night, and I don't apologize for the help. I don't apologize for it. And so demonizing rest. I don't know if you guys are familiar with nap ministry on Instagram, but they are really urging women to rest. And you have to understand that feeling guilty about rest, that stems for us as African Americans back to the slavery culture.
Mm.
Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
Because slaves were not allowed to rest. You were deemed lazy if you rested. Well, there's a new culture in town. And that culture is to be productive in every area of my life that I believe that God has assigned me to be productive. I am going to be the virtuous woman, and the virtuous woman had help.
There you go. That's it. That sets people free right
Mhm.
there. Okay. Because I'm telling you, too many people are burnout. We've got to have self care. I was like, what is going on? We've glorified being busy, glorified the hustle thing. I was like, we need to slow down, because what happens is we then our health is compromised, right? And that's just, you can't be good to anybody. If you could be in a church all day, but if you're unhealthy, fall over dead, I mean, that is not glorifying God, right? So,
Correct.
helping women understand that, yes, you can do all things, but there's seasons for things. There are
There's
different
season for
seasons.
things. I tell people, I can go to my refrigerator right now. I have everything in my refrigerator. It's mine, it's bought. But it's not wisdom to have everything in my refrigerator at the same time because
Yeah.
some stuff clash. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have
Mm-hmm.
to understand what is most important in this season and
I
focus
love
on that. Focus on your top things for that season. Know that your season will shift and your season will change. I was just telling my husband the other day, in my 20s, I made that all about my career. In my 30s, I said I wanted to be about my family. Okay, my 40s, I just sat down and mapped out what I want my 40s to be about because I'll be
Mm-hmm.
40 again in June. So the reality of it is that you can have it all, just not at the same time.
There you go. There you go. So what is one of the prerequisites, I guess you would say, that you would say for as we close here, for women when they are, I guess you would say, not looking for a man, because we don't look for a man, but when they're in a relationship and they want to be married. And I'm finding that I was married at 35. It seems like women are getting married later and later. And I'm not really understanding, like, well, I know, like you said, in the 20s you were focused on this, in the 30s you focus on that. So what is some of the prerequisites that women should really look for when they are trying to decide, you know, to get married and start a family? Some
I
women
think
are
you need
freezing
to
their some women
primarily,
are freezing their eggs. That's what someone told me. They says, "Well, we're freezing our eggs." I was like, "That's a thing. I never thought about that."
it is.
Okay.
The number one thing I would tell a woman to look at is yourself. And when I say look at yourself, look at what your needs are and what your desires are. And is the person that you're considering a match for that? Because
Mm,
so often we get into relationships and we consider everybody's needs and wants but our own. And then we
mm,
look up and say, how did I lose myself? Well, you lost yourself because you never knew yourself. So you didn't even know how to consider yourself. But when you
whoa.
know yourself, you know what to factor in your search. It's like a
Mhm,
company. A company will say, we are hiring for this position and this is what we need. And if you
mm,
don't bring the qualifications and credentials to that company that fulfills the role that they're seeking to fill, you don't get hired.
mhm, mhm,
Don't be so interested in marriage that you will accept any candidate. Be so in love with who you are and where you're going and who God designed you to be that you can look at some people and say, you're good, but you're not good for me.
mhm, mhm.
Look at yourself.
I love it. I love it. That's success. One of the articles that I saw was written is, "What does success mean to you?" Contentment in every area of your life, you said, spiritually, financially, mentally, emotionally, and relationally.
Mhm.
That is really key in all areas of your life. Holistic. Your ministry is holistic. That's what I
Oh,
love
thank you. To
about
God
what
be the
you do.
glory.
Yeah, that's one of the things. And you've got some people over here. We got Jasmine and Cheryl shouting out to them over there. They were just like really giving up. This says, I'm proud. I'm proud. This says at wifehood classes. Her wifehood classes are fire. Okay, I didn't know you had a wifehood
Thank you.
class. So that is cool. That is cool. Well, Tera Carissa, thank you so much. Cover Speakers Magazine, perfect for Women's History Month. Uh, really trailblazer and doing a lot of things. Keep doing the things. When you do your conference, please let us know so that we can put that in the show notes underneath and people can click to it and get to it, right? That's
Will
one of the
do.
main things.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us today. I want to make sure that you have a good and you're not late, right? For your date night tonight. So
Thank you. All right.
we are in it right on time. So thank you so much for joining us today, Tara Caressa. And make sure that you go to the website there. I'm put it up
Mhm.
here so you can know. Very easy to spell. And she knows I know how to spell it. TeraCaressa.com. 1 hour in Caressa and 2 S's. There you go. There you go. So
Yes,
thank you so
absolutely.
much.
And also check out my website, successbullying.us.
Yes, that one is really good too. All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. All righty. God bless you. All right. I'm Pam Perry. That was Tara Caressa. Thank you so much for joining us today. Speakers Magazine, speakersmagazine.com. Download the issue. It's free and you'll see this replay of this as well. So God bless you and everyone have a good night. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. I'm Pam Perry and I'm out.